Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial about CSV files and how to deal with them. So if you already know what CSV files are and you work with them a lot, then you can just skip this. But if you don't know what they are, and especially if you're used to dealing with Excel spreadsheets, then I think this is a great tutorial because CSV files are ubiquitous in the data world, and rightly so. So let's just get started. What are CSV files? CSV is an extension, .csv, as you can see here, and it stands for comma separated values. So it's a format that's best used for tabular data, that means rows and columns, exactly like a spreadsheet. And it stores data separated by a separator, also known as a delimiter. So even though they're called CSV comma separated values, that delimiter could literally be anything. So let's open them up in a text editor. In this case, I'm using text editor on Mac. And we can see that in this case, the delimiter is a comma. So these are the values in each row, and they're divided by a delimiter, in this case, a comma. Again, these are the rows, and these would be the columns that the values are divided in. So this is just one example of delimiter. Let's look at a couple of other. You can have something like a pipe as a delimiter. And now look, the same exact file, however, we're using this character, the pipe. And you can even have something like a semicolon as a delimiter. Literally anything theoretically could be a delimiter. You just have to make sure that you're consistent with using it. Like for example, if I replaced all of these with like a caret, it's like a crazy replacement, but this is also a delimiter. Okay, so it could literally be anything. It doesn't have to be these, but these are the more standard ones, a comma, semicolon, and pipe. Okay, so if you just saw, you're probably wondering, how can I open my CSV files in a text editor? Well, that's because underneath the system, the computer sees the CSV file exactly as a text file. So for example, I'll open this text file. And this is the exact same data as our CSV file, but with an extension of text. And the only difference between those two files is that the CSV file contains, it tells the computer that, okay, this file is a test file with the delimiter. That's it. But otherwise, they're exactly the same. And that's why you can't open Excel files in a text editor, okay? If you tried, well, it's not even giving me the option. And let's see, let's open this up. Okay, first of all, it's log, it's not even opening. So because an Excel file, the XLX format, is a special format. It's designed to be opened in the certain softwares, namely MS Excel, but now also Google Sheets and OpenOffice, LibreOffice, things like that. Okay, so now that we know that a CSV is a text file, you can see that these are actually, they have the Excel logo on them. So how come we can open CSV files in Excel and it automatically parses it? Well, that's because Excel has this feature. They know that people use CSV files a lot, so they build this in. If the file is comma delimited, then it opens and it automatically parses, like this one was. So again, let's look at the raw data again. You see how this was comma? When we open and double click, it automatically opens and parses it. However, when we open other delimiters, let's do the pipe delimiter. This doesn't. This still retains its original format, which is in the pipe form. So how can we go from here to splitting it into columns? Because you'll frequently run into this problem when you get CSV files that are not comma delimited. So let's see. There's one easy way. You select the column, click data, text to columns, delimited, next, other, and here we'll put our pipe. See, there's other options that MS Excel gives, and when you click on them, you can actually see what that would look like, what these splittings would look like. So in our case, it's a pipe, and we put it in other, we specify it. There's two other options, and we'll get to these in a little later. So for now, just look at this. We do other, next, it splits it, and then we finish. And there you go. So that's one way to do it. Another way is to do data from text. And here we pick our file that we want to bring in. I guess since we've already brought that in, let's bring another one. Let's bring a semicolon one. In this case, we do delimited again. We do semicolon, next, and let's finish. And cool, you see how this happens. Okay, great. So now that we know how to parse delimiters and open them in Excel, how can we create CSV files? So let's create one. Okay, so let's create it using a text editor, Atom. And here we do name, occupation, and let's do LeBron James, basketball player. That's an interesting example actually, because I accidentally left a space between this comma and this. And that means when you read this in, the space will be read in with the value. So we don't want that. So let's get rid of it. Let's do Joe Montana, football player. Again, this is my mistake. And you can see why this method won't be that good, because you can do things like this. Let's do athletes.csv. And now that we open this, it opens directly into it. So that's one way to create a CSV file. Another and more efficient way is to use our handy dandy MS Excel. So let's create one. We do name, occupation, notes, and we're going to do 5 people. And for these notes, I'm going to put a comma in it, and we'll see how this comma affects the values in a little bit, and that will tie everything together. And now when we save this, so I'm using a Mac, but on Windows this will be similar. So now we save this, we have to pick the file format as CSV. In this case, the file format is here, and I think in Windows it's something similar. We pick the CSV file format, we save. The one weird thing that MS Excel does is when you close it CSV, so it didn't do it here, but a lot of times when you try to change something and close it, so we didn't change it there. Let's try to change something. Golfer. Yes. It does this, right? Okay, so we save them. Actually, okay, this has been fine here, but sometimes it asks you to save twice. And especially in the Windows version, so just don't freak out about that. Let it be. And that's how you create a CSV file. Okay, so let's take a look at it because I want to show one last example of it. Let's open this in a text editor so we can see what's going on at the raw format. As you've seen, some of the values, they have been double coded. And if you can recognize patterns, you can see that it's because the delimiter that we're using is in these values. Here. And so if the delimiter is in any value, what we do is we double code it. And this tells the computer that these commas are not our delimiter commas. So that's why the double quoting is very important. And reading with double quotes, it's the same as anything else. You just read it in. And Excel automatically recognizes that. And the way it recognizes it is through that option that we saw before. So let's take a look at this. In this case, there's nothing really there. But here's our text qualifier. Depending on what this is, it tells what we should ignore inside. And it will automatically ignore any delimiters that are the same as all the other delimiters inside the value. Okay, we'll import that in. And that's it. That's CSV files. The reason they're so widely used is because they're easier to read than Excel files, Excel is a special format created by Microsoft, but CSV is a text file, and there are a lot more ways to read text files easily. So if you're dealing, especially with a large group and a different number of systems, it makes a lot more sense to use CSV files than Excel files because they're more easily opened. And this is all there is to know about CSV files. So thanks for listening and hope you keep loving spreadsheets. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.